get.
Welcome back. We'll get to Kobe and LeBron in a second. But first, Jazz, Knicks last night. Donovan Mitchell hesitates on the drive. Finishes big, though.
Utah looked good last night. Man, they went after the Knicks early. The Knicks have been playing some of these games where they're a little better than their record would indicate. Yeah. Utah was not having it last night in the Garden.
That 5-8 in the West is just a logjam, Sarge.
Yeah, Mavs and Blazers off the pick and roll. That's D. Lillard finding Yusuf Nurkic for the dunk and then the stare down.
Yeah, he wants you to look back, man. Don't try to hide. Look back and see who did that to you. Oh. See what car hit you.
Nurkic, one of the bigger, tougher guys in the league. His story.
What'd you say, Nick? Look back at it?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Hey, I hear
that's
you.
what I said.
I hear you, Swaggy, man.
The play-in game last night. Wow. St. John's, Arizona State.
That's what that means, Gemma.
I got it from the visual. Off the missed lay in ASU's Daquan Lake slamming home the putback.
James Harden's alma mater going to make it to the real NCAA tournament. Arizona State, we get that going tonight. This is a fun game. The better game of the two last night was the ones involving the 2 16 seeds. But this was a fun game as well. Watch that while watching a little NBA. Go get it, young fella.
Time now for your Subway Choice moment. LeBron's first season in LA is almost over. By everyone's account, it was not a success. The goal now, do better next year. The question now, how? Kobe Bryant chimed in with some advice, saying you just got to keep pushing. Seasons like this are what make the championships worth it. Nick, will LeBron ever win a title in L.A.?
If Kevin Durant leaves the Warriors, I think the answer is yes. Ooh. And that makes Kevin Durant as powerful this offseason as any player as we've seen in recent or forever NBA history. If Kevin Durant leaves the Warriors, there will be 10 teams that go into next season, depending on how free agency falls, with legitimate title aspirations. The top half of the playoff teams in the East. We're talking about almost all the playoff teams in the West from this year. We'll see what happens with the Clippers and the Lakers in free agency. But we're talking about a third of the league that will go in next year saying, wait, we got a star. We have a secondary star. We can go do this. If he stays and re-ups, I know we've talked about if Kevin Durant stays, would it just be for 1 year? What if he signs a real full extension with the Golden State Warriors? That, to me, would all do everything but cross a line through LeBron James' championship window. Because while I do think the Lakers are going to be much better next year, do I think they're going to be better enough next year to reach the gap they currently have with Golden State? I don't. They need Golden State to take a major step backwards, which would mean losing Kevin Durant, and then also, of course, add the star. So it
has to be both.
It has to be both.
It has to be both.
I don't think that the Lakers, even if they add Anthony Davis, are in position with the coaching staff, and I know that'll change, and with the supporting players, to go in a 7-game series against Durant, Steph, Clay, Draymond, and beat them. So I'm not closing the championship window on LeBron, but Kevin Durant, in an odd way, has more to say about this than just about anybody in basketball.
And I would say also, if Kevin Durant decides to go to New York, my question is, does Kevin Durant win a title before LeBron? Because right now, if I was looking at everything that's been presented, LeBron's whole career, how long he's going to be able to remain in his prime, the Lakers, are they going to be able to not only be able to get one of these big free agents or pull off the trade, but what about all those other important players that you need to be able to add?
Yep.
You know, what type of style are they going to play as LeBron ages? Are they going to be able to put enough defense around LeBron as he ages? Those things I have to depend on. So the answer to the first question is, no, I don't think he's going to win a title in Los Angeles. I'm not going to be dependent on Kevin Durant. And I think Kevin Durant, if he goes to New York, he'll win a title before LeBron will, because I believe that someone else will join him in New York. Also, that lottery pick, whoever decides to get that Zion, that will play a role in it. But if it was just based on everything that I've seen, the lack of confidence I have in the Lakers organization to be able to put those key 4 or 5 bench players around LeBron, I would say no, and then I would double down and say I believe Kevin Durant is more lined up to win a championship no matter where he goes and whoever he partners with than LeBron is in L.A.
But he would have to partner with someone. So it would basically be Durant and someone else in New York, LeBron and someone else in L.A., everything else being relatively
but
equal.
It's not like
and the Warriors will still be the favorite.
Right. Well, that's what I was about to say. It's not like those two teams all of a sudden become, well, just pencil in, we're going to go to Lakers, Knicks, NBA Finals for the first time in over 40 years. It would be, those would be two of the teams, but then there'd also be Houston and Golden State as most likely the favorite. I think they would be the Vegas favorite, as you mentioned yesterday. Denver's like, is anyone ever going to pay attention to us? Portland all of a sudden would see an opening. That's not even to mention OKC. Giannis isn't going anywhere. We're going to talk about Philly. Philly should only be better next year depending on if they can keep their pending free agents. Boston could take a major step back, but there's a lot of we don't know because we don't know how free agency is going to fall. But this is where it is such an interesting offseason, because if KD stands pat, then the discussion is the same as it's been going into this year, which is who's the team that could win if something bad happens to the Warriors? If they falter, if they have a bad luck injury timing, something like that. If he leaves, then we're talking about, like you said, wait, what's a bigger draw? LeBron in L.A., KD in New York. Hey, how will the original Warriors look 5 years after the Splash Brothers burst onto the scene? All of that. Now, I do think LeBron is not done being the best player in the world. And I know he's not done being a top 5 player in the world. But as we've seen, that's not enough right now. He needs another player, and the role players that you're talking about, who do you trust more? Scott Perry and the Knicks, when they have a huge draw in Madison Square Garden. Kobe also said he's added him to the list of players that would have liked to at some point play in Madison Square Garden. NBA guys love the city and love the arena, even though there hasn't been winning here. You trust Scott Perry and the Knicks more, or Magic and Pelinka and the Lakers more? You have to trust Scott Perry and the Knicks more as far as filling out a roster. So there's a lot of ifs that go along with LeBron's team being not a championship contender, but a championship favorite. I think they'll be a contender given health almost no matter what next year, but a favorite, a lot of dominoes have to fall into place.
Well, I think it's interesting that you place so much stock on what Kevin Durant does. How big of a drop-off do you think it would be for the Warriors if KD left? You don't think the Warriors would still be the favorites out there if they hold on to Boogie and it's the team you see now and they stay healthy?
I mean, they're going to have a hard time holding on to Boogie, and Kevin Durant is that type of player. Let's just say Kevin Durant stayed and Steph left. They would still be one of the better teams in the league. Let's say, let's just say Clay leaves, and it doesn't matter. They are that talented. Now, as far as LeBron's going to have a hill to climb next year to be on All-NBA, because Giannis and KD, like, he's going to have to fight for one of them spots. I mean, he's not going to make All-NBA this year.
First team.
Well, that's what else I mean, what else would we talk about with LeBron? Yeah, he's not going to make first team, all right? Because of those two, and trying to get back on first team, man, that's going to be a tough task. KD is going to be sending a message no matter where he goes, and Giannis will be defending, you know, the MVP from this season. So it's just not a foregone conclusion. Now, Nick might think that way, that he's going to be all NBA and everything. He's top 5 player,
well, you can be a top 5 player. I didn't say it was foregone conclusion, first team All-NBA. You can be a top 5 player and not be first team
Okay, well,
All-NBA.
let's just go with this, all right? Steph, Joel Embiid, Giannis, KD.
Yeah, I'm not ready to put Joel Embiid there yet. I'm ready that no matter, despite what he did last night, I think we know, and I think you would agree with this, the 7 best players in basketball in any order are Steph, KD, Giannis, Harden, Anthony Davis, Kawhi, and LeBron James. Those are your top 7. Joel's trying to get, in my opinion at least, into
on your list, but the players that have played the best, all right? Joel Embiid would be in that.
Oh, for this season, right? And it all resets next year. Like, so this is. I think we're talking about 2 separate things. I don't want to get lost in the weeds on that. We are in agreement that, of course, it's a hill to climb. And as far as Kevin Durant and his ability to remind people on a singular level how great he is, that's one of the attractions of going to New York. He's going to get more shots. He's going to be the featured piece, even if he's with Kyrie. Kevin Durant next year, if he goes to New York, will be one of the preseason favorites for MVP because of that, because he's going to be able to accumulate those counting stats accordingly. But if he stays, then we're having the same conversation we've been having. If he leaves, the Warriors probably are the Vegas favorite, But it's very close. It's Warriors, it's the Rockets, it's Philly, it's Milwaukee. There's a bunch of teams on that list. That's what's so intriguing about this summer.
All right, let's take a break there. Coming up, Le'Veon Bell sounds off on Ben Roethlisberger. Leave it at that. Next on First Things First.
All NBA next year. Harden, Steph, Giannis, Durant, Joel Embiid.